Welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got a review for you today. Today we're going to be talking about Image Comics Tenement issue number 4. It is written by Jeff Lemire, art by Andrea Sorrentino, colors by Dave Stewart, letters by Steve Wands, and this dope cover is done by Christian Ward. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help. I'm trying to hit that sweet 666 number. You know, it's right there. It's all free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just interaction between me and you. Alright guys, let's get started. So Tenement, right? It's basically an apartment building. We have established it's between these 7 tenants that live in this building. In the beginning of the story, it was about a guy that lived in the building named Felix, and supposedly he died. He left this key to the kind of the main character, this kid named Isaac, and the key led down into, we don't really know right now. It's kind of almost like hell or something like that. It was a stairwell that led to an unknown floor inside the building, and ever since then it's been pretty crazy. And this issue it didn't disappoint. We start out with our 7 tenants. Basically, they have caught up with Isaac. He had kind of run off before, and that was kind of the panic from basically the second issue. Now that they're all caught up, they trying to figure out how to get out. They've already run into these masked individuals. They do find out that Isaac was able to just walk past those individuals while when they got there they were attacked. Maybe it was because they were adults. All of a sudden, as they're talking, one of them points off into the shadows, mentioning for them to be quiet because there's somebody moving, and sure enough, we see this individual with, looks like blood on his face, run by in the doorway. Isaac claims it to be Felix, which kind of startles everybody because they know he's dead. They saw him get wheeled off by a cart. At this point, they try to stay together, and they instantly, you see that it's kind of like a cave with different paths, but they do get split up. Sure enough, we got the obnoxious guy, and he gets stuck with the mom, and come to find out, now there's death traps. As soon as they go down this one tunnel, they all of a sudden, all these spikes start coming up. We see this badass spread right here while they're in another room. It looks like something's trying to eat them. But it's not just them. We catch up with Isaac and who he's with, and he walks into like a pit of snakes. There's kind of like this joke about, who likes snakes, and nobody likes snakes. And Isaac's like, well, some people like snakes. But basically at this point they're coming across like all these different death traps, trying to find either the way forward or the way back. During this, there is this weird occasion where Justin's mom, he's the weed dealer, where she shows up inside the maze. She just explains that she found the doorway and it just led her straight here. She didn't even go to that other floor, kind of thing. Justin's all weirded out about this, of course, because his mother is elderly and stuff like that. We catch up with the married couple, and they kind of sit there, and we finally get this truth moment about how this guy's been, struggling to keep up with the debt and stuff like that. Eventually he quit his job, and now we know he's been gambling, and eventually he had to borrow money from his brother. As he's, discussing this, she mentions, hey, did you hear that? And all of a sudden they get this poisonous gas that fills their room. We cut back over to the obnoxious guy and Isaac's mom, and they're basically trying to make their way through, and they end up finding this feather. The feather leads them to a doorway, which upon entering the doorway, they find a window. Looking out, they see Toronto. The guy explains that, that he can see the ground, kind of thing, and he's ready to go out. She's like, well, what are you going to do? We're 6 floors up when we entered this thing. You're going to jump down the 6 floors? He goes to break the window after it doesn't open, and sure enough, he cracks it. We see this, and then right after that, we see this, and it freaks him out. Kind of freaked me out a little bit, too. Because right after that we get all these, a storm of crows, that just flock through into this cave system with them, and it goes past them. Um, Eventually we get this moment here where most everybody gets caught up with everybody but the obnoxious guy, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, and Isaac's mom, and basically the rest of the group are, they're kind of weirded out that Justin's mom's here, and Isaac mentions that, hey, that's not his mom, that's one of those guys in the mask, and they're like, well, how do you know? And he's like, I can smell it. And sure enough, Isaac grabs a knife, he ends up stabbing the mom, and as soon as she falls over, we do see that it is one of those guys in the mask, and somehow they were able to wear her face, kind of thing. This is where we get the explanation of how he knew that it was the person in the mask. We also get the explanation that Felix is not dead. That's why, the kid ran after Felix, is because he swears the person that died in the first issue was one of the people in the red mask, and Isaac is down here, and that's the goal, is they're trying to find Isaac's real room within this weird dungeon, tower system thing they're in. As soon as the lady, masked person hits the ground, they start hearing noise from, the distant. And it's because of these crows. All of a sudden the crows have caught up with the rest of the gang, and they're fleeing past everybody. The rest of the group freaks out because they're not aware where the crows came from. But out of all the mist, Isaac spots the actual door where they're supposed to go. The obnoxious guy is the guy who makes it through the door first, and sure enough, it looks like we have found where they are supposed to be going. It looks like Felix's real room, that's what the kid says. But that's where this issue leaves off. We get a cover image from the next issue, issue number 5, but that's basically it. There's no, little synopsis or nothing, but man, this book is fantastic. I mean, the story alone is great, but this issue, the horror element that was in it, there was a couple different panels where I was getting tense, and it's so good. We're in 4 issue now. It's going to be a 12 issue series. Let me know down below what you're thinking about Tenement. Comment below. I don't know. That's all I got for you guys. That's my review.